And so maybe just taking a moment to take it all in, maybe taking in a deep breath. And I see the hellos on the chat. Hi, everyone. It always brings a big smile to see you. So if you're returning, welcome as well. Some of you I haven't seen for a while, so it's good to see you as well. So why don't we just take a deep breath together and just settle in, just allowing yourself to settle into this moment. I'll do the same. And maybe just adjust the body in a way that's comfortable for you, in a way that feels right. Let me just change my settings right here. Perfect. So today I was inspired by somebody that I was talking to last week about the value of this moment. And so I figured that today's session, we could talk a little bit about that, about how sometimes the moments pass us by and how sometimes it's so hard for us to be right here. And again, just recognizing that the future is just a thought. It's not here yet. So is the past. And this is when we kind of tap into this wandering mind, the mind that wanders between the past and the future, which is a very normal thing, by the way. And so with our practice, we just learn to recognize it. We'll learn to tune in. We'll learn to see what's happening. I don't know for you, but this kind of going to the future, at least for me, I noticed it very earlier on in my life. As a child, I remember my birthday, and I would wait months for my birthday. I couldn't wait until it's my birthday yet. It's my birthday yet. I don't know how many of you can identify with that as kids. Yeah, I see some hands up. Yeah. And then after the birthday, it was like, when is Christmas, right? So that was, for me, that was a big thing. And what's interesting is that, as I grew up, it seemed like that was just a natural habit to always go ahead. And so it's just the wiring of the mind. And it's important for us to recognize that we're wired to always go from the past to the future. And it made sense, right? In old times, I think we probably needed to. We needed to be conscious of the future and make sure that we gathered enough food and make sure that, nothing was as available as it is now for us. And so it made sense for us to kind of have this way of thinking in some ways. And so as I was talking to this person last week, it was pretty interesting what she was sharing. And she was talking about, she says, being a single mother, first of all, a single parent. And she said that this being single with a child really took her away from the moment. For her, it was very difficult to tune into the moment because it was very challenging. And so I don't know if you've noticed, but when life gets challenging, the mind turns to the future or the past. We want to learn from the past, or we want to gather enough resources for the future. And she said to me, I have spent most of my child's early years waiting for her to grow up because her life was so difficult. And it really touched my heart when she said that, because she had so many regrets about even the past. And again, the mind going to the past. But now she was practicing and recognizing this. And she said when she was a baby, I could not wait until she could walk so that she'd be a bit more independent. And then she said when she started walking, I could not wait for her to go to school. So I will have more time for myself and more time to do what I needed to do and take care of the finances and the house. And she says, and now that she's in college and out of the house and the years have passed me by, I think to myself, where was I? And she says, definitely not here. And that really I think that's something that we can all, even if we're not parents, we can kind of identify with, this sense of always going in the future, the mind wandering in this way. So she says, as I was talking to her, she says, I have now vowed to myself to be in her life every moment and to celebrate every success she has, and also the times when she feels defeated. I have made this vow to be in every moment of her life, even when we're not together, celebrating her life and our life together now. And of course, we're only human. And so she says, and there's thoughts when I see her, oh, when are you getting married? The usual, right? The mind going to the future. And she says, but when these thoughts come to mind, and instead of asking questions, I take a deep breath and I smile and look at her and I enjoy her beauty and the beauty of her being now. And so this being here, this being fully present, this moment as being everything we have. And as I even speak about this, you might even notice how the mind comes in and goes. And this is a natural process. And so with our practice, we learn to kind of come back to the moment. We learn to tune into the breath, the body, to be here, as it is the only moment that we have. And if we're not in this moment, how can we prepare for the next moment, right? And so I'm going to invite you to just maybe get comfy, whatever that means for you. Maybe it'll be sitting straight. Maybe it'll be lying down. And as you get comfortable and find a pose that works for you, just making sure that you can feel fully supported, allowing the body to support itself in the surface holding you. And perhaps you can become aware of the body and those areas where the body makes contact with the surface. And then just noticing those areas where the body is kind of resisting the surface, areas of tension, of tightness. And you might notice that as you become aware of these areas, the body kind of relaxes in some way as well. As long as we just shine the spotlight right here, our attention spotlight into these areas, they just kind of soothe away in some ways. And it might take for you to take even a deep breath to just soften around the tension or the tightness. Maybe just exhaling long, just fully arriving. And maybe setting the intention to completely be here with your entire being right now, at this moment. Blessed with this warmth of this community here together, practicing together and becoming one in our practice in this moment. So as the body settles here, maybe feeling the pull of gravity keeping you here in place. Becoming aware of your feet, the legs, sensing through these areas and allowing them to just settle in the moment. The hips and the glutes. The back of the body that might be in contact with the surface as well or not. The belly where you might feel the breath, the rising, the falling. Now noticing the position of your hands. Sensations on the palms of the hands, the fingers. And moving your attention up the arms, noticing if they're in contact with the body and what sensations are there here when the arms become in contact with the body. And how about the upper trunk, the lungs, and the heart? And maybe you can tune into your heartbeat, or perhaps you can feel the lungs expanding on the in-breath and contracting on the out-breath. And now just allowing your attention to settle in the back of the body, the upper back, the upper spine, the lower back, lower spine. These areas that might be in contact with the surface holding you. And I just so gently becoming aware of the shoulders. Sometimes the shoulders feel like they carry such a big weight. All our stress sometimes is gathered here. And so just checking in for any tightness, any tension here. Just allowing it to change on its own without forcing any change or trying too hard to change anything, but just becoming aware, giving it that tender attention. And noticing the neck, the back of the neck and the sides, the throat. And it's constantly working for us. Perhaps sensations of tightness or tenderness, or even the swallowing that happens without us even noticing here. And by now, you might have noticed that the mind wanders, or we get distracted, the attention diverts. Every time you notice this, just smile, because that is a mindful moment. And then just with a big smile, bringing your attention right back to whatever we are in the body. So right now, traveling your attention and resting it right on the face, the jaw, the teeth, the area around the eyes. Allowing the muscles around the face to just soften. Nothing to do right now, nowhere to go, but just being here in this moment, the only moment that we got. And now becoming aware of the right ear and the right side of the head. And the left ear and the left side of the head. And then moving your attention to the back of the head. The mind might not be in contact with the surface holding you. Just becoming aware of this area. Noticing if there's sensations of numbness or tingling. And there's a chance that there's no sensations at all as well. So just noticing that too. And some areas of the body are harder to tune into than others. And coming up to the crown of the head, the top of the head. And when you're ready, just allowing for this attention to expand, to include the entire body. All the way from the crown of the head to the tips of the toes. Tuning into all sensations here. Resting in this stillness in this moment. Right here with this body that is already present. But now maybe just bringing a sense of gratitude towards this body for doing its best to keep us alive, experiencing every moment. And at your own pace, and whenever you're ready, just opening up to any sounds that might be present for you right now, or the absence of sound, silence. Instead of looking for anything, just allowing sound to come to you. Just bringing a sense of curiosity to sound, noticing the rhythm, noticing the pitch, the volume, and becoming aware of any stories that the mind makes around the sounds, and then just coming back to just hearing sound. And if sound is not available, then just noticing silence. Allowing sound to bring you back to the moment again and again. And there's no judgment on a wandering mind, distracted mind, natural process. So bringing a sense of tenderness, kindness, even through this process, acknowledging the times when the mind wanders, and then just allowing your attention to really tenderly come back to the sounds, maybe sounds within yourself, the breath, the sounds around you, sounds outside on the streets, the silence that might be surrounding you. Perhaps even noticing how the mind tends to look for sounds that are pleasant and kind of judge sounds as well as I don't like or I like, or this is good, this is bad. I'm just noticing that and just tuning into really the rhythm and the pitch, the volume. And that is what the moment is bringing right now. So being here, whether it's pleasant, unpleasant, or even neutral, neither one, just noticing it. I'd like to share a story with you by Nobel Prize winner Juan Ramon Jimenez. It's a short poem, actually, called Spring. And he says, my morning nap is disturbed by a devilish noise of children, and I am in an ill humor. No longer able to sleep, I leave my bed in despair. Then, looking out from my open window, I realize that it's the birds whose shrill clatter has disturbed my slumbers. I go down to the garden and sing, thanks to the God of the blue day. Free concert of singing bills, fresh and endless music. The swallow, fanciful one, utters her warbling from the well. The blackbird whistles on the fallen orange. The fiery golden ariel chatters from evergreen to evergreen. The blue titmouse laughs long and gently on the top of the eucalyptus tree. And in the tallest pine, the sparrows argue outrageously. What a morning! The sun spreads its gold and silver gladness on the earth. Various colored butterflies flit everywhere, among the flowers, through the house. Now in, now out, above the spring. Everywhere the countryside bursts open to a bubbling of new and wholesome life. It is as though we were inside a great honeycomb of light, which might be the heart of an immense scarlet rose. So maybe just taking in a deep breath. And I love this writing by Juan Ramon Jimenez because it's so easily for the mind to judge things, to push away what doesn't seem pleasant. And then when we bring this sense of curiosity to the moment, we might actually find joy in it, just like you did. So just allowing for this moment to unfold. And as I share this story, what comes to mind is this constant chasing for the next moment, as I was saying at the beginning. Just chasing for whatever we think is coming without knowing that it might not, but it's just, sometimes it brings us a sense of security to think that the future is available, is here. But that thought can also create so many problems, can it not? So it brings to mind this term called the hedonic treadmill, which refers to a person's tendency to remain at the same level of happiness despite reaching their goals or achieving anything in their lives that is beneficial or considered successful. And this goes to that idea of us chasing for the next moment. Right? I find myself going to the store and just wanting to get to the store. And I kind of miss the road, I miss the trees, I miss the birds. And it takes that intention for us to be here in the now, to appreciate, to give value to the journey, instead of always wanting to just get to the destination, right? So this hedonic treadmill is interesting because it says that no matter how happy we are when we get to the next moment, that happiness is very temporary. It doesn't remain that way forever. And this goes to that kind of idea of when we chase for things, nothing wrong with wanting beautiful, amazing, expensive things, but it's more when we chase them thinking that they're going to make us happier. Maybe when I get the car, I'll be happier. When I move to a bigger place, I'll be happier. When I have more space, I'll be happier. When I get my next job, I'll be happier. And so this hedonic treadmill says that there will be a momentary happiness when we reach it, but we'll eventually go to the same level of happiness we had to begin with. Therefore, we'll continue to chase for the next thing, and we'll never be enough. We'll always be chasing one thing after the other. And so with our practice, mindfulness kind of teaches us to be in the moment and to recognize the happiness in this moment, and to be either with the sadness and the difficulty of the moment. So the pleasant, the unpleasant, even the neutral moments. And research shows that even when the mind is wondering about very pleasant moments, beautiful places or things, we're still happier in this moment, even when it's not as pleasant. So I like to just leave you with that for now, and maybe just if there's anything that can take on for this week until we see again, is to really find the small moments of joy and the smallest little things, such as maybe the breeze outside, the birds outside. So tuning into hearing, seeing if we can stay with the sounds, and really noticing how the aversion that rises when something is not pleasant, even a sound, right? That we just like, oh, I wish that would stop right now. I gotta be honest and confess that for me, that's the wind blowers or the leaf blowers. The blowers is what it's called here in America. It's they have these machines that blow air and they kind of blow the leaves. Oh my God. That's something that I work on. When I hear those, I just have to tune into the sound and notice what it does for me, because they're right up my window and they blow all this dust and all the other stuff. So that's something that I consider part of my practice. So just noticing for you what comes to mind. And then also the chasing after the pleasant thing, because my immediate reaction is to close my window and turn some nice music on so I don't hear it. And so working through that could be pretty interesting. So if I could leave you with something, it would be to just notice even the aversion that rises in the moment, and to know that even when the moment is not as pleasant, we're still working on our overall happiness, really, instead of chasing for the next thing. So I'll leave you with that. I want to thank you for this formal practice and for your time, for showing up for yourself in this way. Thank you.